camera, please.
Just
Yeah.
look at me.
I'm looking at him.
Yeah, because see, take a look out
Right.
at how that looks.
Mhm.
That looks nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's great.
Breathe in.
Be one with the camera.
All right.
Just remember, there's nothing that they can kill you and eat you for.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Thank you.
That's what I always tell them. All right, rolling?
Rolling.
Okay. Bob, thanks for doing this. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Thank you, Jack. My pleasure.
Well, let's start at the beginning. You're from this area originally. You grew up in the Moline area?
Yes, I did. I'm born and raised in Moline in the Floricienta neighborhood, which is predominantly a Hispanic neighborhood in Moline, and it was really a wonderful childhood.
Now, as I understand it, are you one of 12 children?
Yes, very fortunate. 2 did not make it, but we had 10 children that survived, and it was a great growing up. Being part of an immigrant family, that really made my life seem really normal because we were always so busy. Everyone was working, everybody was doing something, so it was pretty easy.
I'm sorry. What kind of values did your parents give you?
Basically, that was it, the values of hard work. If we wanted something, we didn't cry or whine about it. We just knew that we had to do something to make it happen, and that was work, do a job, or do something so that you could buy a new toy or go to a movie. And that's what happened. So I started very young, been supporting myself since I was 14. So those values have stayed with me all my life.
What was your first job?
Being a salesman, I used to sell little sachets that ladies used to put in the closets. They smelled good, and I'd have these, and I would sell them for a nickel a piece and go up and down the street selling those. And I can't remember how I got them, but I remember doing that, and that was enough to get me into a movie, buy a soda pop and some popcorn. But I used to do that all the time.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Now, as I understand it, also you worked your way through Moline Community College, and you studied at the University of Cincinnati.
Yes.
Tell me
I
about
did.
higher education.
Well, my high school was really fun, exciting. I had an older brother who was the Illinois state champion, and he was actually my role model. So going through school, I wanted to be a wrestler. Unfortunately, I broke my elbow, could not do that. But all through that time, I was working through high school, enjoying sports. I did track, cross country, baseball, and just really had a wonderful high school time. And when I graduated, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no money or anything like that, but I had been working at the Lee Claire Hotel as a busboy all through high school. So I went to Moline Community College, which is now Blackhawk College, for 2 years, and decided I wanted to finish and go on to college. And that's when I decided to look into the University of Cincinnati, which had a co-op program, which took kids and you worked for 7 weeks and you studied for 7 weeks, and I enjoyed that. And 18 months I was down there and ran out of money and was in love and decided I only had 1 semester to go, but I would come back and finish as soon as I got on my feet. So I came back and married my sweetheart, Glenda Lou Crummer, and that's how we started life together.
What kind of line of work were you in early in life?
I was selling. I never stopped selling. I was selling pots and pans at the time, which was really a lot of fun, and I enjoyed that. And that got me through most of a year and a half at the University of Cincinnati.
How did Bi-State Packaging get started, the first big business?
Well, that's a good story because my first job was with Dun & Bradstreet Credit and Collections. And I was calling on a little family business in Decatur, Illinois. And this young man had known my brother, and he asked me, "Are you related to John Ontiveros?" And I said, "Sure I am." One thing led to another, and he asked me if I wanted a job. Of course, I didn't need a job. I was already employed, but he had offered me a piece of the business. And I said, wow, I'd always wanted to be an entrepreneur, have my own business. So I quit, and that's what happened. I went to work for this small family business, and I was there 7 years. Did extremely well because back in the 60s, there were factories up and down the Mississippi River. And that was my territory, calling on John Deere and Caterpillar and all the plants on the river. And I just loved it. And when it came time to be part of the business, he said no. His son was graduating from the University of Illinois. I'm sorry, but we'll pay you more, and you'll be happy with that. And I said no, and I left and started my own business. And that was 1974. That's when, if you remember, there was the oil embargo, tremendous recession, worse than the one we just went through, because interest rates were 17%. Of course, I was bullheaded and told my wife, we're going to start our own business, and we named it Bi-State Packaging. I had no business plan, didn't have financing, but I cashed in an insurance policy, and I said, I can sell. I've been doing this all my life, so away we went. We started Bi-State Packaging.
Sorry, couldn't hear anything.
I was going to shut off the
That's
volume.
okay.
Sorry. Can you redo that?
I knew Alfred wanted to get into this. Somehow he was going to get into it.
Then the volume was ring and it spoke to me.
Anyway, that's the start of Bi-State Packaging in 1974.
Well, as I read, you were basically selling stuff out of the family station wagon.
That's right. We didn't have any vehicle other than a station wagon, and I was very fortunate because I knew the territory from before, and I had that work ethic from my immigrant parents that just said, hey, if you knock on enough doors, you'll be successful. And one of the nice things I've learned, if you sell people on value of whatever you're selling, if it's a service or a product, they'll want to buy it as much as you want to sell it to them. So I was selling cost-saving ideas because it was a recession, and everyone was looking to save money. So that made it pretty easy. So we grew quite rapidly in the first 5 years.
Well, and one of your first big contracts was Deere and Company.
Yes, it was.
This is one of the biggest ones one of the biggest ones to crack here in this area.
Yes, it is, and it's still to this day, we're doing business with John Deere, which I'm so pleased that most of the companies, nearly all that we do business with now, were accounts that we started years ago, some back 30 years ago, like John Deere.
And that was basically starting with plastic wrapping and packaging.
Yes, it was. We started selling shrink wrap and stretch wrap and a new product called cohesive packaging, which was sticking together, and it took no energy, no heat, so we were saving people money on packaging, and that took off quite well, and I became known as the cold seal man. But anyway, it allowed me to sell many, many new customers with those innovative ideas at the time. So I was really pleased the way it turned out.
And you expanded into latter part of the decade. You expanded throughout the U.S. into Mexico and Puerto Rico.
Well, what happened was the outsourcing became something very popular in the 79, 80 area. Actually, it was a recession again in 1980. It seems we're always going through these recessions. And in 1980, I was asked by, once again, John Deere if I wanted to package for them. And I said, why, of course. So we started R&O Specialties, a new company. And that company now is our supply chain business, which is a very large company employing over 1,000 people and doing business with Caterpillar and many other companies besides John Deere.
How does a supply chain company work in terms of the kind of business you're in?
Well, we're just servicing our clients. Our clients bring us products and services that they need done at a lesser cost. So we provide both the people, the facilities, and the technology to get that supply chain going. And it's been very successful. We've added many new components to it, from filling antifreeze for Caterpillar to building engine kits and shipping all over the world. So we're very diverse in that supply chain.
But then you take on a whole new area, and that's
Yes.
marketing, which I never would have thought, coming from this background,
Well, that's an amazing thing about our country and the culture. People say, well, how did you get into that? And I say, well, it just so happens that the client we were doing work for, their printer went bankrupt, and we assumed the assets of that company and took over their marketing, and from there we just grew the business and presented marketing ideas to new clients like AT&T and Michelin and State Farm and many, many more.
So are you in on the actual production of commercials, or
No, we do websites, we do trade fulfillment. That's a growing area for us. We manage print for companies.
Let me start from that.
Sure.
Let me start from that vantage point. What kind of marketing services do you offer?
First of all, our marketing services are rewards. We do reward programs, we do trade fulfillment, and we do print management. And those are three key areas that have allowed, once again, it's an outsourced category that big companies started doing, and no different than our supply chain. They outsource their marketing. So it's been a growth industry for us, and we're continually growing now, and we're very pleased with that.
And you've moved into web design and web
Yes,
marketing?
that's all part of it, because we're really proud of the fact that we have companies like Microsoft where we're doing websites for Microsoft, and that's an ultimate compliments of our talents of what we can do. So we have quite a staff here, and I like to tell people that we are a can-do company. Yeah.
Well, along those lines, tell me about the corporate values here. Obviously, to do business, you have to earn the confidence of the
Right.
people you're selling to and providing services to. How would you describe your company's core values?
Core values is the customer is always right. Always look to bring value to that customer. And I think that's proven over the years that, as I said earlier, the same people that we're doing business with now, we have been for 37 years or 38 years or however long we've been engaged. Having figured out that the new companies coming along, like the marketing, has only been 15 years, but we still have the same customers and same clients. And that's because we're saving them money, basically. It's that hard fact that we do it cheaper, faster, and smarter.
As one of the largest Hispanic-owned and operated companies in the country, what kind of personal pride does that give you as someone who came up from rather modest circumstances?
Oh, it's great pride at just being recognized as one of the top Hispanic companies. There are 3 million Hispanic businesses that we know of. I mean, I'm sure there's more than that, but being in the top 10 makes me feel very, very proud. And then there again, it's that value system that we have and that can-do attitude that keeps us growing. We wouldn't keep growing just because we're Hispanic. It's because we bring value to our clients.
What about your company's commitment to diversity? I see people of all kinds walking through the doors here.
We have a large commitment to diversity. I think right now of our 1,800 employees, I think 40 plus percentage are of diversity and inclusion, that we include all those, from Asian to women to Black, African American, and Hispanics. So we're very cognizant that allowed me an open door, so we allow other people to come along with us.
What sort of sense of satisfaction do you get watching young people, minority people coming up, and others, of course, coming up,
Right.
and learning the skills to succeed here through your own business?
Right. That's one of the really outstanding things that I'm proud of, is seeing ordinary people with limited knowledge or limited education growing and learning on the job. We have so many people that started here right out of high school, worked their way right up into vice president level. So it really gives me a lot of pride in that.
You're a big believer in giving back to the community.
Right.
A lot of executives that I've talked to over the years have said, well, it only makes sense to invest in the community, to reinvest in the community that's helped make my business successful, because it gives back, it breeds more success.
Right. That's the way I feel as well. We're very active in our community, as you probably already know, with United Way, Habitat for Humanity, Boys and Girls Clubs, just about all the nonprofits that we believe in supporting, because we love the community we're in. It helps us. People recognize Group O. We're always hearing that on the street. Oh, you work at Group O? And I say yes. I'm very proud of the fact that I work at Group O.
And in particular, I know that you're active with Augustana College.
Correctly.
Speak to that.
Well, I was asked to be on the board of trustees at Augie. I think mainly they're trying to get some more diversity in the board, which I was okay with that. if I can help, I'm glad to do it. But also to see how difficult college is right now with the rising costs of education and how people of color and really have a difficult time. So it made it even more important for me to do more scholarships, and we have scholarship programs with 4 different schools in the area, and we really are going to continue to do that to try to help others. And it's been an eye-opener. It's really being on that board, because colleges right now are all struggling with the high cost. They just have to operate like we did, reduce their costs, and maybe they'll get over this crisis period, you know.
Yeah. How does your background and the way you came up help to kind of inform the charitable giving that you and your family and the group are invested in?
Well, I don't know. That's a difficult question, other than the fact that they see that I came from humble beginnings and with nothing, and even a lack of a college education. I did not graduate. I finished with 1 semester to go. However, I think that makes people feel that what I'm doing is giving back is so important, and it just gives me I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to explain that feeling, but I'll always continue to do that and give back, you know.
I think you explained it very well.
Yeah.
What are the great life lessons that you've learned that you want to pass along to young people who are coming up in the business?
Well, basically, my whole growth in business and in life is that I've always worked hard. No matter what you do, whatever you want, I've always accomplished what I had. I remember back 20-some years ago, it's been maybe back in the early 80s, that I wrote down my goals. I said, I'm getting up there. I want to start writing my goals. And just in the past 2 years, I found that little gold calendar that I had purchased at a drugstore, and it had my goals from 1984. I accomplished everything on there but one. I didn't get down to 150 pounds. I wanted to get back to my college weight of 150 pounds, but the rest of the goals were all accomplished and exceeded. So I think what I'd say to young people is dream high and work hard to those dreams, and it'll come true.
You've accomplished so much. What gives you the most personal satisfaction of what you've been able to do?
Well, being able to pass my success to the employees of this company and to my children, basically that immigrant philosophy of you can accomplish anything if you work hard. So it's been wonderful to look at all the things we've done. I've got one example. My son said to me one day, he said, "Dad, Caterpillar asked us to package antifreeze for them." And I said, "Well, what the heck do we know how to package antifreeze?" He said, "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." And in 3 months, he had a factory up and running packaging antifreeze, and that was 15 years ago. So he's taken that same attitude and to the next level. And I think that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And I've had so many people that work for us that have that can-do attitude. You just walk out there in our plant and you'll see people working very hard. They just know they want to do a better job, and they love being working for a company like Group O, who gives them opportunities. I mean, we never know from day to day what's going to happen the next day.
You've kind of stepped back from the day-to-day operation.
Yes, I have.
What continues to motivate you?
Well, I'll never change. I still get up at 5:30 every day, 7 days a week, and I still do the very same things I always did. And in the last 5 years, I've started a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in my local community, and we service about a 100-mile radius of the Quad Cities. And it's really given me a lot of satisfaction to see how we're helping others, small Hispanic businesses grow, trying to engage them into grow and telling them that, look at me, I did it, so you can do the same thing. So it's been very gratifying.
Bob, I think I'm pretty much to the end of my questions. Is there anything I've left out that you...
No, other than the fact that I'm so proud of having been married to my wife for 53 wonderful years. Not all wonderful years, but 99% of them were wonderful years. And we're very, very happy for what we've been able to accomplish in our lifetime.
Well, thank you very much.
And thank you.
I think we've got that.
Okay.
If we could have a little time with you to do a little Hollywood.